Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you as usual. I have a lot to cover in here. There's lots of stories and some updates for you. Not too long today, okay? So let's jump in and cover. You guys are just not going to believe this. Ugh. All right, let's go. To start off with, in case you didn't see it on Twitter or you're unaware, I made it on to TMZ. That's right. Now, here's the interesting thing. I did not talk about Harry and Meghan on TMZ. We were all talking about Carrie Underwood. Most of you know her. She's an American Idol winner. She has an amazing voice. And what you may not know is it just came out that she's going to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration. For those of you who may not know, in 2017 at the Country Music Awards, she was there with Brad Paisley making jokes about Donald Trump. It didn't go over well. People that like Donald turned their backs on her, but she's always been very apolitical. She hasn't let people know how she really feels about politics. As soon as the story broke that she was going to be singing at the inauguration, people jumped all over her. It was horrible. So she had to put out a statement that said, and I quote, "I love our country. I am honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration, and I am humbled to answer the call at a time when we all must come together in the spirit of unity and looking at the future." There you go. So the Presidential Inaugural Committee spokesman confirmed she will be performing at the inauguration. I mean, remember, this is a woman that did a song Before He Cheats. Listen, she likes to stay out of politics, but she has a great voice. And I'll say it again, I think she'll do a great job. Good for her. All right, let's move on. Let's move on now to King Charles. On the 13th, he met with Holocaust survivors because the UK is having their commemorations for the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. We do know that the king is about to take a historic visit. We're going to be discussing that in a minute. The king met with Manfred Goldberg during this event. He survived the concentration camps, including Stuttgart, as I might add. He's 94 years old. The king also spoke to students that were involved in the Echo Eternal project during the reception that took place at the palace. The king did talk about how the numbers of Holocaust survivors are dwindling, which, people are getting older. And they also talked about education for the future so that people don't forget about the mistakes of the past. The mistakes of the past, if you don't learn, you're doomed to repeat them. All right, let's move on. The Holocaust meeting was important because the king at the end of January is going to Poland to mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. King Charles is going to attend a commemorative service at the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum and Memorial in Poland on January 27th. And prior to, that event, he's going to meet with members of the local community in Krakow. He's also going to meet the President of the Republic of Poland, Mr. Duda. This is King Charles' 5th visit to Poland, but his first overseas trip of 2025. And the palace said that King Charles is going to be doing a normal schedule of foreign tours this year because the trips last year went really well. They said that the Australian tour was the, quote, perfect tonic to lift King Charles' spirits and health. I love that. All right, I'm looking forward to reporting on those. Now, also, King Charles and Queen Camilla sent a message to the people of Glasgow praising the city for its, quote, rich culture and centuries of resilience because it was celebrating its 850th anniversary. That's a long time. Charles and Camilla wanted to extend their, quote, heartfelt congratulations. It goes without saying that people really do make Glasgow. I love that. All right, let's move on. Princess Catherine made a surprise visit to the same hospital where she had been treated for her cancer last year, the Royal Maiden Hospital in London. How wonderful is that? This is her first solo trip since she returned to official duties. So she went there to meet patients and staff. She talked about the care she got there at the hospital. And she also announced now that she has become the joint patron of the specialist cancer unit there with her husband, Prince William. I mean, that's just how wonderful. She got down there. She spoke to people as they were having their cancer treatment, while they were in chemotherapy, wearing their ice caps. I love that. She got to meet Scout, the therapy dog. And she said, as she got there at the front entrance, I was just saying, coming in the front entrance after having made so many quiet, private visits is rather nice. And of course, she gave out hugs, but somehow this is different, you guys. You know what I'm saying. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, I just wanted to touch on this story. It's being reported that Prince Harry is going to protest the royal family by rejecting any offers of a free place to stay at the palace. Yeah, I'm sure they're really going to be hurt by not seeing you and wondering what you're taping and doing behind the scenes. Moving on. Now, moving on, in case you didn't get to the part of my video yesterday because it was at the end, Harry and Meghan apparently quietly behind the scenes went to visit families that were affected by the fire. And the person who dropped the penny on that was Victor Gordo, the mayor of Pasadena, the guy that was, stuck to their sides while touring them through the burned out areas. And it gave me bad vibes. It reminded me of Uvalde, where they met with some of the families secretly, privately, and then went back secretly, privately, and of course taped the whole thing, showing them celebrating one of the family members' birthdays. And I also found it interesting that Meghan held the cake. Meghan started the singing. Meghan stood in the middle, the center of attention once again, and then took a bunch of pictures. This is why they're calling them grief ghouls and tragedy tourists and the monetizers of Montecito. They take other people's pain, and I guarantee you will see film of them at some point meeting with some of these people. Thank God the mayor of Pasadena, Victor Gordo, was stupid enough to let that drop while he was also busy telling everybody about Harry's selfless act of getting somebody a donut. I have to tell you, even Megyn Kelly took the piss out of him. That was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. She was like, "You're not royalty, Harry. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Go home to your $29 million mansion and stop trying to, get out there in the public. We hate you." Now, the whole thing started with Justine Bateman. I told you about that yesterday, where she came out and said that Harry and Meghan were disaster tourists. Well, apparently her statement was spot on, I think, and there it is. You can read it for yourself. But apparently Harry and Meghan are now feeling offended by that statement. One of Harry and Meghan's sources told the outlet, "It's offensive to Meghan and Harry that anybody would think this is a mere photo opportunity. Meghan was born and raised in Los Angeles, so this is and always will be home to her. And her heart is broken due to her close ties with LA, including growing up in the area." Well, I still think they're tragedy tourists, as I pointed out to you earlier. I think most people think they are. Well, it didn't take long. We're all racists. That's why. What grave mistake has she done? She stepped up to open their home to loved ones who have evacuated. I'd like to know who's staying in her home. There isn't anybody staying in her home, but it was inevitable. Now, everybody who's saying anything nasty about her is being called a racist. I've heard that so many times. It's so old. So Meghan wants to ask, this is not self-promotion. This is not a PR exercise. That's what she said. Well, a big thank you to Observer88 for going not on Meghan's Instagram, but the Archwell Instagram, because there's no images of the fire, barely any images of Harry. It's all Meghan. Don't tell me that's not self-promotion. Now, before we get into our big story for today, we all know that Meghan delayed the Netflix cooking show because they said she wanted to focus on the fire. But the truth is she's already taped it. It's already been edited. It's ready to go. I've said it before. I'm saying it again. I think she's going to retape, re-edit, and try to fix things before it goes, because already look at the numbers of dislikes. It's out of control. All right, let's move on to our big story for today. All right, this is a big one. Apparently, Mr. Zuckerberg, who we know owns Facebook, put out a statement that said it's time to get back to our roots around free expression, and we are replacing fact checkers with community notes, which simplify our policy and focuses on reducing mistakes, looking forward to the next chapter. Well, Harry and Meghan had a mental breakdown. So to make sure that you understand what's going on, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads is switching to the X-style community note system where users flag content as false or misleading. Now, a lot of people have said this is an attempt by Meta chief executive Mark Zuckerberg to curry favor with Donald Trump. And online safety campaigners like Harry and Meghan are concerned it will allow misinformation to spread more easily. This coming from a woman who told a court that she had nothing to do with her book. I'm not even going to go there. Both of them are so... They so spread misinformation. We're partners with Jose Andres in Central Word Kitchen. That was just a few days ago. You are not partners. You gave them a donation 3 years ago. So here comes Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess, engaging in U.S. political issues again. So Harry and Meghan put out this ridiculously stupid long statement. You can freeze the screen and read it for yourself. But basically, this should be deeply concerning to us. We're already in confusing times and disruptive information environment. And millions of people use the Meta platforms and most use them globally. And this is going to have a global impact. And online spaces must be designed with public safety. And we are alarmed by plans to abandon commitments to diversity and equity. What the hell does that have to do with anything? On and on and on they whine about the harmful setbacks, and we still organize and proudly support the Center for Critical Internet Inquiry, Parents Together, Five Rights Foundation, the Macy Lab School, blah, blah, blah. Again, they turned it all about Archwell, what Archwell is doing. Self-promotion all the way, but you guys can slow it down and read it for yourself. Now, here's the part that really got me. After all of this and Harry and Meghan whining about, we've been in this space for the last 5 years. We've witnessed the real world devastation these decisions have, and there's no justification why the industry behaves this way. Nacho comes out and says, quote, "This is so important. Return of free speech." Go Nacho! So the next thing that happened, which didn't surprise me at all, is Harry and Meghan got warned to tone it down because there could be repercussions, especially with Trump coming into office, because essentially they've been poking the bear for quite some time. They can't expect to not get something back from it. Trump is going to see this as a battle, and he's going to target them. We know that's how he operates. We know how Trump is. We already know he hates Harry and Meghan. He knows about Harry's drug use. He knows about the whole visa debacle. So yeah, poking at the bear is not a smart thing to do. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to hear your comments. So make them good because you obviously know I'm reading them. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications and that thumbs up to help with my algorithm. Don't forget to go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, my Amazon wishlist, and my physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.